What's going on, everybody? Josh Callaway here alongside John Hoover outside the stadium among the coaches' statues in Norman, getting ready to hit the road again this week as the Sooners travel to Ames, Iowa, fresh off the bye week, looking to make it 2 wins in a row. That Kansas game feels like a really long time ago, which is a good thing. I think we all liked the bye, we all needed it. Now we're back ready for the home stretch. Sooners and Cyclones Saturday morning in Ames, Iowa. Brent Venables held his weekly press conference today to talk about the Cyclones, talk about what the team is doing, what's going on after the bye week. So a couple of updates off the top that we'll dive into. First, Billy Bowman. People are really curious, is he going to be back? Brent Venables didn't say, it didn't sound great. He kind of said there's no timetable just yet. He's working really hard to get back. The other thing OU fans are really curious about is DJ Graham. What's up with that? He quit from defense to offense, then we didn't see him at all, hardly, in the Kansas game. Didn't he bother to make a number change, so he couldn't be out there at the same time as Braden Willis, both number 9. What's going on with DJ Graham? Why the move? Brent Venables shed some light on both of those things in his press conference today.
He did. He said that DJ and his dad, it was his understanding when they came here, they said we will be an athlete, so kind of a two-way player, reserved the right to flip over to offense at any point in time. He said DJ wanted to go play wide receiver. End of discussion. He didn't elaborate on what DJ's prospects are for playing in the offense at wide receiver. He just said that was it. As for Bowman, we were able to get over here to the Everest last night where they practiced indoors, and we have sources who say that he was going through some things on the practice field. He was able to do some things. This is good. He's got coming back from the knee injury. But, yeah, Billy Bowman working his way back. My suspicion, Josh, is that he's going to play, and they're desperate to get him back because, guys like Robert Spears-Jennings played good the other day, a couple of weeks ago when he played. You've got Woody Washington playing corner and then moving over to safety. You don't want to have to move things around and call guys up and do all that stuff. You'd rather have Billy Bowman out there, obviously. So that's something that they're trying to get him back for Iowa State.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Bowman is obviously hugely important to this OU defense. The really rocky times, I know Kansas State was rocky, but the really rocky times, TCU and Texas came when Billy Bowman wasn't on the field. So they are a different defense when he's able to play. So we'll see if he can get back out there. We saw him just a little bit, like you said, in Everest yesterday, and he was running around. Look, what can we tell from that? But he looked to be at least close, right? That's the hope. Brent Venables said, they hope to have him sooner rather than later. DJ Graham, who knows? I think Brent, didn't he say his heart was in offense, his love is offense? So we'll see if he can work his way into the fold at some point this year. Wide receiver, not exactly a position of need for this OU team, but who knows? If he's good enough, we know he can catch. We've seen that. Maybe he can work his way in there at some point here down the stretch. So, Brent Venables today, he talked about in these final 5 games, they're all winnable, they're all losable. That sounds very similar to something that we were talking about on the post-game podcast, because I agree completely. All 5 of these games, Oklahoma can definitely win them, but they're all on the table to lose as well. Kind of refreshing, interesting to hear Brent Venables say that, and that we need to be ready every week because we can easily lose to all these teams.
It was a moment of stark honesty, I think, and a coach who comes out and says we can win the rest of our games, he's either lying or he's super cocky. A coach who comes out and says we can win the rest of our games or we can lose the rest of our games is being 1,000,000% honest, and that was refreshing to see him say that. And here's the deal, he kind of took it to another level. He didn't say we could win any one of our games or we could lose anyone. No, he said we could lose them all or we could win them all. So he's all in on winning them all. That was a moment in the press conference where I was like, I had a question, kind of waiting in the queue. I was in the back of my head and I'm typing some updates and I'm doing some stuff. And he said that and I went, well, that's my question.
I got to ask about that.
I'm going to follow up on that. And so that was my question because that's a moment of honesty that we don't get to see all the time, at least previously, here at the University of Oklahoma football.
Right. No, 100%. It's exactly what we talked about in the post-game podcast, after the Kansas game. It's true. I mean, they could definitely – if you told me Oklahoma goes 9-3, I believe it. If they told them they won't win any more games, they go 4-8, I could believe that too. I imagine it'll probably fall somewhere in the middle, but all 5 of these games the rest of the way are going to be really, really interesting starting this weekend. With the Cyclones, that's where we'll dive in next. Iowa State. They're kind of an odd team because they're only 3-4. They have no Big 12 wins, but as Brent Venables noted, and as players and Roof and Levy noted yesterday, so obviously it's come up, they've only lost all their games by a total of 14 points, all 4 one-possession games, and they have a really, really good defense. So it sounds like the message right now from Brent Venables to his team is this Iowa State team is a lot better than their record, and they could easily have a lot better record.
Yeah, Ted Roof said it yesterday. I think he said they could be undefeated. You're talking one play, in each of their 4 conference games, one play, and they're undefeated.
Sure.
So they go from 0-4 to 4-0 and 7-0 overall. They didn't play anybody in non-conference. They played Iowa. Iowa can't score. Iowa State ended up winning that game. But the other 2 teams they played were not any good. Didn't prepare them for what's going on in the Big 12. Big 12 is really good this year. Big 12's floor is right now as low as Iowa State wants to take it. And that's not a knock on Iowa State. That's saying Iowa State and West Virginia are probably the 9 and 10 teams in the Big 12.
Sure.
But we're not sure. Those guys are beating people and holding people offensively, especially Iowa State's defense. Number 1 in the conference in overall defense, number 1 in the conference in run defense, number 1 in the conference in overall pass defense, number 1 in the conference in scoring defense. They're not giving up anything. So, guys, this could be a bad matchup for Oklahoma. If Oklahoma's offense is not humming, if Dylan Gabriel's missing throws against a team like this, a defense like this, that's a recipe for an upset. And I say upset, OU's only favored by 1.5.
Yeah, no, I mean, Iowa State, they're not as what they've been. They're missing some of those usual faces. You're used to seeing Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, stuff like that. But Xavier Hutchinson is still there, one of the best
Leads
receivers.
the nation in catches.
I was going to say, one of the best receivers in the conference, if not the best. It's going to be a tough task. And obviously, like we just talked about, their defense has been really, really stout so far this season. Matt Campbell, a good coach. Ames is going to be jumping. Jack Trice gets pretty rowdy. I've been fortunate to be there before. They can get pretty loud up there in Ames. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. Like Brent Venables said, everybody gives their best shot against Oklahoma.
Get their A game.
Gets their A game, gets their game 7, as the players had said earlier in the year. We'll see what happens on Saturday in Ames. Looking forward to it. Hitting the road again up north. We went to Omaha for the College World Series. We're in Nebraska, and now we're trudging right back in the same neck of the woods, even further up there to Ames, Iowa. On Saturday, we'll all be there, the full crew, making the trip up north to Jack Trice Stadium in Ames. Going to be a fun one. AllSooners.com, the place to be all week long, leading up to the start of that ball game. Tons of preview, and of course, all the comments from Brent Venables, Jeff Lebby, Ted Roof, and players yesterday talking about this matchup as the Sooners get ready to battle the Cyclones on Saturday in the Week 9 matchup here in Big 12 play. All right, that's it for now. For John Hoover, I'm Josh Callaway. We'll catch you guys up north in Ames. Until then, see you next time.